Robert De Niro had the biggest fail in the history of press conferences today. We're going to talk about that. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Welcome. So the Republicans have been going with Trump to the trial every day. And it's been a different group every day. And they've been having press conferences.
Yeah.
And the Trump haters, the Democrats, the media, the never-Trumpers, over the Memorial Day weekend, it started to sink into them that the trial has not gone the way they expected. And they've been complete and utter panic mode going on in the news. So they came up with this.
Plus the rallies didn't help.
Yeah. They came up with this just stupid idea today. Yeah. And, with De Niro, and we'll talk about this. See, the Democrats, the way Democrats think is this way. Their way is the right way on everything. And anyone who disagrees with them is a Nazi, a racist, or something like this. And public perception is on the Trump trial that Trump did no wrong. There's no crime.
Yeah.
And whatever the jury's verdict is, the American people, and not only the American people, you watch even the liberal media, you watch them cover this on CNN and stuff, have already found Trump not guilty. Mm-hmm. So what the Trump haters and the Democrats did is this. They said to themselves, well, of course he's guilty. This just has not been messaged properly.
Right.
So we've got to send a message out there that he is guilty. So they came up with this harebrained idea to send Robert De Niro out to have a press conference where the Republicans have been having the press conferences the last few weeks in front of the courthouse. And Robert De Niro took with him a couple of the Capitol cops, the guy with the blackout tattoo on his neck, and that gargantuan weirdo guy. And
De Niro is obsessed with Trump.
That's for sure.
In a very unhealthy way.
Yeah,
I think he's worse than Joy Reid.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And Robert De Niro had this press conference today, and it was an epic failure. So I'm going to play some of the audio, and we're going to talk about it. It not only was it an epic failure for De Niro, it really shows you how New York City has changed, because some of the insults that I heard from the crowd to Robert De Niro are some of the most profanity-filled insults I've ever heard at a political press conference.
New Yorkers don't hold back.
New Yorkers aren't liberal anymore. They have woken up and have been red-pilled. So let me go through this. This is in the New York Post, and then
Brian,
in a bit we'll play some of the audio.
Maybe they never were liberal.
No, they were.
What's the voter turnout? It might be a situation where
maybe
they don't vote because they think that they think it's liberal. Well, you know what I mean? Like they think, what's the point of voting? Because this is a blue city, but maybe it's really not. No, that's just what liberals have successfully made people
I don't think so in New York. There's been a red pilling that started with the lockdowns and now with the lawfare. So there's been a whole cycle of things over the last 4 or 5 years. Let me go through this article in the New York Post, and we'll play some of the audio. Oscar-winning actor Robert De Niro, and I'll say this. I've always liked Robert De Niro movies. One of my favorite movies is Heat. I've probably seen it 85 times.
Yeah, that's your favorite movie. What is he? What did he win the Oscar for?
Probably Raging Bull, which is awful.
Let me Google it.
That movie is awful. It is so overrated. Yeah, so one was Raging Bull, and you looked it up. The other one's Godfather 2, right?
Yeah, he's been nominated about 8 times.
And I don't know how he won an Oscar for Godfather 2. He barely talks in that. And when he does, he's speaking Italian. He says, he's got 3 lines in the whole movie. He's got 3 more lines than I have.
I've never seen it.
I'm not a big. I like Godfather 2, but I always fast forward through the De Niro parts because they do the. He's Don Corleone when he's first starting out, and I find that boring. I just fast forward to the parts with Pacino. But anyway, if you really think about it, Robert De Niro's career, there's only a couple movies that are worth watching with him. Of course, Heat. That's a big one. Godfather 2, but again, I fast forward. I've always, not just because of his Trump stuff, I always fast forwarded through the De Niro parts of Godfather 2.
I like the first part of it.
Oh no, God, that's terminal. And what's the third movie? Oh yeah, Goodfellas. And
that's a good movie.
And he's supporting in that. So this idea that he's this
Goodfellas is more about Ray Liotta.
Yeah, he's supporting in that.
Yeah.
He's supporting in Godfather 2. He's he's a very overrated actor. And
kind of plays the same in everything. He's kind of like Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
They kind of play the same. And now we see they're really just playing themselves.
If it wasn't for... No, not really. He's not a tough guy. He thinks he's a tough guy, but he's not a tough guy. If it wasn't for Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro would have been in like 2 movies.
That's true. He owes him his career.
Let me get back to this. I mean, that's about it. And if you want to see the real Robert De Niro besides this disastrous press conference, go see Dirty Grandpa. It's the most vile movie ever made.
It is, absolutely.
And he not only does De Niro play himself in Dirty Grandpa, I don't think he went by the script. I think he just said what was on his mind and what he was feeling.
I saw about 10 minutes of that movie, and that was about all I could handle. It's awful.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to this New York Post. And I do understand someone said on Twitter today that he's nominated for an Oscar this year. But
for the movie, the Indian movie, The Killing Moon or something with DiCaprio.
Oh, that 23-hour-long movie that no one watches?
Another Scorsese film.
Is that even in theaters? That's an Apple thing. Anyway, back to this.
That was on Amazon.
Oscar-winning actor Robert De Niro became the face of the Biden campaign today, fronting a press conference outside the Manhattan courthouse where Donald Trump's defense team made the closing arguments in the hush money trial. After weeks of avoiding commenting on the case against Trump outside of jabs on social media, the Biden campaign went big by announcing the press availability with special guest of the day, closing arguments with the jury expected to receive the case on Wednesday. So, he comes out with those 2 Capitol police officers. And the New Yorkers just went off on all of them, not just De Niro, but the Capitol cops too. And this really shows you how out of touch with reality the Biden regime is and the Democrats as a whole. No one likes those Capitol Police. Everybody knows what they're all about. Those 2 guys didn't fight off anything. They didn't do anything. If you go and watch the videos of January 6th, the Tucker Carlson show, they basically were tour guides, the Capitol Police.
The Capitol Police, there's tons of video of them opening the barricades, letting people in, walking the shaman through the building, and shooting Ashley Babbitt. Yeah, that's what they did.
That's it.
They're not freaking heroes.
And the one guy that has the blackout tattoo on his neck, I'm dying to know what's under that. And if
was the guy standing behind him, the black guy, was he the one that shot Ashley Babbitt?
No, he was not the one that shot Ashley Babbitt. No.
Okay, I was just curious.
Now, the thing with the blackout tattoo, people that get blackout tattoos, like this guy has on his neck, get blackout tattoos for one of 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Either the name of an ex-girlfriend or something, or a swastika. Okay.
I don't want to cover up.
Yeah, they want to cover it, and it's always one of those 2. Yeah. All right, and I don't know if you can take like some type of special ultraviolet light over a blackout tattoo and see what's under there or not. I don't know.
I don't think you can.
But I've never heard anyone ask this guy, "What's under the blackout tattoo?" And not only that, you're telling me there's no photographs of this guy before he had that tattoo blacked out. So let me play this clip. This is Robert De Niro. He's got the Capitol cops behind him.
Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know.
He has really lost it.
Now, when Robert De Niro says, under Trump, this type of government will perish from the earth, what does he mean? A dictatorship that arrests the leaders of the political opposition? He's right. Donald Trump's going to end that type of government, De Niro.
I don't mean to scare you. No, wait. Maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye.
This is amazing. This guy's got...
What is he talking about?
He's got 2 Oscars. He's got nominated for this garbage, this 28-hour-long movie that nobody's watched about Indians in the oil business with DiCaprio. This guy's... He's reading this. Mm-hmm. This is the worst line delivery I've ever heard. Let me go back to this. What did he forget how to act?
No, wait. Maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye.
Boy, that's compelling. That's compelling dialogue, De Niro. Boy, yeah, give this guy an Oscar.
Granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave.
That's their new thing. They said this before when he was running the first time, the second time. Trump left the White House when Biden came in. He did it. I'm sure it was not easy to do, but he respects our government. There is zero evidence, of Trump doing anything against the Constitution. These are the people that are against the Constitution.
This talking point they have that that there'll be no more elections and he'll never leave.
It's ridiculous.
First off, Trump only has one more term left. So there will be no more Trump elections because he only has one term left, right? Number two, this thing that he won't leave, he left the first time. He wasn't thrown out. He left the first time. So, Bill Maher started this garbage last week with that Megyn Kelly and now De Niro's doing. I don't understand why people in the press don't say to these jerks, well, wait a minute, he left last time.
Because they want people to believe that. I think people like Maher and De Niro are useful idiots. I think they really believe what they're saying. I really do. But people in the media know that it's all BS. But they're not going to call them on it. I mean, Megyn Kelly did a little bit, but they're not going to call them on it because they want people to think that. But everybody knows that is not true because Trump has never done anything to give you the feeling. I mean, he did leave. He did walk away. He's never given anybody the feeling that he wants to be president. And how would he do that, by the way? And these people, they have allowed their imaginations to run completely wild.
Yeah.
I'm reading all these books on this. I'm reading Bill O'Reilly's Killing the Witches. It's excellent, by the way. And I've been watching.
It's about the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, I've been watching a movie. Right. I've been watching a movie about it with Kirstie Alley, and I'm reading another book about it. And it is amazing how similar things are. Obviously, people aren't getting like hung on trees outside, but the mass of people that are coming forward with these lies, and that's how these people got killed back in Salem. People were just lying about everything, and it kind of just festered. And that's what's happening here. They're just lying about Trump and making things up. It is a witch hunt. It is a modern day witch hunt, and it's all focused on one person. It's amazing to me, but how De Niro really believes what he is saying. He is really afraid of Donald Trump. It's just amazing to me.
My guess is, I'm going to play more of this, but my guess is with De Niro is this. Actors are arrogant, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Especially New York actors are the most arrogant.
Yes, they are.
And Robert De Niro has been identified as this big deal in New York for so long. And Donald Trump is a big deal in New York, always has been. Even before he was involved, the Trump family were big deals in New York. And I would bet you this, and I would bet anything on this almost, that at some point, De Niro didn't get a seat at a Tyson fight that Trump was behind. Something happened
personal,
where he didn't get treated by Trump like this Oscar-winning movie star.
Same with Bill Maher, because Trump sued him, and it's personal with
let me finish up with this one clip from De Niro. I rewound just a bit, but we'll go on with it. He's got those 2 January 6 cops behind him.
And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
I wish he would leave.
Even though he did last time.
He sounds like a lunatic.
He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country?
Yes.
And saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
Oh, my God.
He's
not Zelensky.
I
mean, think about it. These people love the Ukraine. They love Zelensky. Zelensky just said that. He stopped all the elections, but they love the guy. But they're accusing Trump of doing that?
Well, yeah, Zelensky...
I mean, Zelensky literally did it, and they think he's great.
Last week,
what is wrong with
Zelensky's term ended. He stayed in power. Now, if you hear in the background the horn honking, these are the New Yorkers. They're honking their horns to drown out De Niro.
The country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really.
This is a big epic fail.
We don't have a choice.
Okay. Boy, De Niro.
That is an epic fail.
He's on a set that he can't control.
No.
So when he's been like in Goodfellas and he's doing those scenes on the street, they got everybody quiet and everything. He's so distracted by the horns honking in the background.
Here's what I think happened.
He can't even see straight. Yeah.
Here's what I think happened. He did some video for Biden over the weekend.
Yeah.
The rallies have flipped them out, and the fact that this trial is just going nowhere. And I think what happened is I think De Niro called Biden himself over the weekend and said, people have forgotten about January 6th. They don't care anymore. I need to remind them what happened.
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
So let me go and speak in New York. It's my town, and I'm going to go speak to the New Yorkers and to the world and remind them. That's why he went there with those 2 Capital 6 cops.
Yeah.
That's why they were there, because he did talk about January 6th. He wanted to remind everybody about that because I think in his mind, we've forgotten and time has passed and people don't care anymore, which we don't. And he's there to remind everybody what a horrible person is. I think in his mind, he really believes what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's completely deluded. Yeah. And I think after the Russia thing and all the lies the media have told about Trump, that's what I've talked about with the importance of perspective. People can look back and they're like, you know what? These people are liars. They're just flat out liars. They fantasize, they make up stories, and they think we're stupid enough to believe them.
Yeah, let me play another clip. This is De Niro.
What a lunatic.
And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve
the
our
freedoms
is
too much.
And hold on to our humanity
is
to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice.
He forgot his line.
God, nobody cares.
This is the guy.
Horn is perfect.
This is the guy they give Oscars to. Okay, so that now De Niro. He also at one point compared Donald Trump to one of the 9/11 terrorists. But so now he's turned behind him.
Wow.
And he's a little guy. I mean, he could have played Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones. I didn't realize how little De Niro was. He turns around to these J6 cops now.
Yeah.
For these lowlife.
I love the horn. The horn just won't stop.
It's perfect.
This is what the Democrats do. But see, these are New Yorkers. These are ex-Democrats so that are now MAGA because of all this lawfare and all this stuff going on, the crime. And what's going on is they were liberals not that long ago, so they do a lot of things liberals do, which is like the noise disruptions. So I like this. This is usually only done to Republicans.
Yes.
For these lowlives, for Trump.
It's hilarious. You know it's pissing him off.
Okay, now this part here,
this is good.
He pointed out to the J6 cops, and then somebody on the side says they lied under oath.
For these lowlives, for Trump. They lied under oath. They lied under oath. Right. Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Those 2 traitors behind you.
Excuse me?
Those 2 traitors behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
They're traitors. I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you.
He's lost it. He's so upset.
Yeah, he thinks he's the guy in Goodfellas. You're going to drive him out to the desert there, De Niro?
He's going to get, what's his face? What's that comedian? Don Rickles out.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
He's going to get Don
with the 12
Rickles
gauge
with the guns.
in Casino.
That's a great movie, by the way. Don Rickles with a gun was the best.
I will say,
yeah.
Okay.
He's a clown.
There are 2 Robert De Niro movies that are spectacular. Of course, Heat. And the thing about
Casino's good.
Heat is Casino's very good. Okay, so there's 3. Casino,
and Goodfellas.
Good. That's not a De Niro. He's supporting. But Casino is very good, obviously.
Very good.
And the guy that he played in Casino used to he's gone now, but he used to listen to me and Steve on the radio.
Yeah.
The real guy that De Niro played.
Rothstein.
The Rothstein guy. He used to listen to us on the radio. And so Casino, Heat, and Heat's great, not because of him, it's because it's Michael Mann. And then he does have one role that's great, The King of Comedy, where he plays Rupert Pupkin with Jerry Lewis.
Yes, he is good.
That's good.
He's got
a couple of movies.
He's like Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is a great actor. I'm sorry.
Really, how many great movies? Hunt for Red October.
Everything I've seen him in,
what are his great movies?
Okay, Glenn Ross. You told me
he's got one scene in that movie.
But you said it's the best scene.
It is good. It is.
And when he was in The Aviator, and he played,
I don't remember that.
Yes, he played the Spanish head of that one airlines against Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. He's a great actor. I'm sorry, but he's a good actor. He's a jerk.
But
being a great actor does not make them great people.
I didn't say that Alec Baldwin was not a great actor, but he's only had a couple of really great roles.
But I said, but everything he's in, he's good. Except I didn't like when he played Donald Trump. That was annoying. But every movie he's been in,
that sucked.
He's done well. And I just read, by the way, in the Inquirer that his brother Billy Baldwin has a similar temper. And his wife actually said she lives in fear.
Really? That she could get shot too?
Because she said she's afraid to upset him, and that's why he doesn't work anymore.
China Phillips?
Yes. I read in the Inquirer. He does not work anymore because he has a horrible temper like his brother. So we're digressing.
So now De Niro, he's still with the J6 cops, and these New Yorkers are telling him what they think about him.
Oh my God, he's lost his mind.
Now he's looking at the MAGA people. Now these are New Yorkers in MAGA hats, okay? And he's calling them gangsters.
Oh my God.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're washed up.
Oh.
You're filthy. You're nobody. Your movies suck. You're trash. You're trash. You're done.
That did not go well.
You play a wise guy in the movies, you're nothing.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I did not see that.
Oh, that
part.
was brutal.
Wow.
That was brutal. And they have him totally surrounded.
You got to see the visual of that. Holy mackerel.
I love this New York MAGA group of people. I think they're awesome. The New York MAGA are awesome. You know?
Yeah, the New Yorkers don't play.
And, the thing about De Niro is he must be a method actor. He actually thinks he's a gangster.
How embarrassing for him.
He thinks he's a wise guy.
He figured it's New York. They love me. Tribeca. He was not expecting that. They almost ran him out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting them to take him to the outskirts of the city like in Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
And dump him
off. Yeah, I know. Don't
come back. I'm serious. That was beautiful.
It was and we could play this all day because it's
all over Twitter.
This just went on all day. So, but those are some of my favorites.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, someone told him he's an embarrassment to Italians and Jews because
there was one part where they told him to go F himself.
Yeah. So
he didn't.
But here's the thing.
Go back to California
when he came out with those J6 cops and Robert. Now, one thing about Robert De Niro
that went bad.
The Godfather Part 2 was what year was that?
72, 75, I think.
Okay, so Godfather Part 2 was 75.
Yeah, and then Raging Bull was 81. So he won it for Godfather first.
Yeah.
And then
so
Raging Bull.
In 1975, I was 4, you were 5. And since 1975, when Godfather 2 came out, everybody's been kissing Robert De Niro's butt everywhere he goes and telling him how great he is.
Yeah,
okay?
He's been nominated probably as much as Meryl Streep.
This morning in New York City with this disastrous press conference was the first time in his life that Robert De Niro has faced rejection, at least in 75, okay? The first time he's faced rejection, he's had people that are not kissing his butt but telling him the opposite. He's never had this happen before.
What has happened is the tide has officially turned.
Yes.
Okay? And these last 2 rallies really flipped out the left. I am sorry, but they really have flipped
The Bronx
them out.
was like a pop-up rally. It wasn't even planned.
I mean, there were 25,000 people there. And usually the media tries to downplay it. They actually had to admit that it was what it was. And then the rally had in New Jersey, another blue state, with 100,000 people. The tide has turned, and there's no stopping it. They can't bring anybody out.
Yeah, they got no one.
And for Robert De Niro to think that he could convince New Yorkers that Trump's a bad guy, they basically ran him off the street. If you see the video, they ran him out of there.
Of his own city.
But he probably said to Biden, look, I'm a New Yorker. I can convince, this is how arrogant these people are. I can convince New Yorkers that Trump's a bad guy. Let me go out there in front of the courthouse. Enough is enough. We got to do something. I'll go talk to my people. And his people hate his guts.
And, Robert De Niro, in that press conference
today,
Robert De Niro is so arrogant. he thinks after 9/11 he saved New York. He was talking about this in this disastrous press conference. He says, I brought the Tribeca Film Festival here to bring the city back after 9/11. Rudy Giuliani brought the city back, not you,
and
De Niro.
Trump did a lot more for New York than anybody. And who gives a crap about the Tribeca Film Festival?
Now, here's my question about De Niro. I don't know what you think, Kathy. Does Robert De Niro regret doing that today? Is he embarrassed?
No.
You don't think so?
He'll rationalize it in his mind and say they're all effing idiots. That's what he'll say to himself. They're all stupid, white trash. They're dumb. They don't know any better. Yeah. Liberals think that if you support Trump, that you just don't know any better. You're brainwashed.
And you know what he did that was really weird? He came out and he came out like it was a movie thing, right? He comes out and they do like that Bruckheimer thing. He's in the front and then they got like this pyramid formation with the J6 cops behind him. So but he's like a little guy. He's like 3 feet tall and he's wearing an N95 mask.
If this was 1776, he probably would have been tarred and feathered.
He looked like Bane or something. He had that N95. And
why he wore that?
The N95
because
mask?
he thinks the Trump people are all infected. And he doesn't want to get sick. He really believes that.
What did he
exactly. He thinks we have cooties, and he doesn't want to get sick and get infected
and become MAGA.
And maybe he's an idiot.
If
it was pretty good,
it'd be one thing if it was like he was at ground zero during the cleanup. You wore the N95 mask. To wear that N95 mask today, when he walked out in this supposed dramatic film kind of thing, he doesn't understand that he sounds brilliant and tough in the movies because smart, talented people write those lines, and the responses to him are written and back and forth. It's
amazing.
He wrote his own script today, and he sounded like an idiot.
It's amazing.
You should have got Scorsese to write it.
He might not have written his own script. I wouldn't be so sure.
He didn't deliver the lines well.
Scorsese wrote it for him.
I don't think so.
It's amazing how the left, and you and I were talking about this last night, like the women on The View. Ana Navarro just said Hispanics were, she's Spanish. She'll tell you all the time. She's Latina. She said Spanish people, Hispanics, were stupid, very stupid, if they voted for Trump.
Wow.
And she has had a lot of backlash from the Hispanic community.
She speaks for all Hispanics.
And they said she does not understand that there is a difference between coming here legally and illegally. And just because you share a similar DNA pool doesn't mean you have to agree with every single thing that happens. And it's amazing how people on the left say and do such horrible things.
Oh, yeah.
But Trump's the bad guy. We're the bad guys.
Exactly.
But they can go ahead and do and say all this stuff about us.
That's right.
And about Trump and lie about his family and malign and do these horrible things to the country. But we're the bad people.
That's what they think.
Because they feel what they're doing, it's Machiavellian. If you read The Prince by Machiavelli, the ends justifies the means. That's where that comes from. That was his whole philosophy in politics. The ends justifies the means. So in their mind, they know better, and whatever they do, it's justifiable because the end result is to keep Trump out of the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to take a moment to tell you guys about the incredible specials at MyPillow.com. You know, it's free shipping on all orders over $75. So that's huge. On top of the savings you're already getting, there are massive savings on some of the most popular MyPillow products, including 50% off the MyPillow mattress topper, which is my favorite. 50% off. That's a huge savings on the MyPillow mattress topper. We have them on all the beds in our house and, of course, sleep on it every night. But there's also all kinds of incredible specials there. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, and there's still time to order for Father's Day. So go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And remember, when you do that, you're supporting all the content I bring you, the podcast, the radio show, the YouTube channel. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at MyPillow.com.
Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. From author L. Shannon comes a romance that transcends time and defies the paranormal. Forgiven, the Lynx Clan Book 1, available on Amazon. In Forgiven, meet Kelly Green, a psychic protector of the weak. Her latest rescue, Saxon, a brainwashed amnesiac werewolf assassin who's been held captive by Nazis for over 60 years. Saxon dreams of freedom and love, but his past is haunted by the atrocities he was forced to commit. Kelly's generosity gives him a chance to overcome his fears and his addiction. But can he truly escape his captors and find redemption in her love? Find out when you read Forgiven, the Lynx Clan Book 1 from author L. Shannon on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Follow Kelly and Saxon as they navigate a world of magic, danger, and the healing power of love. This is your next favorite romance. Forgiven, the Lynx Clan Book 1 on Amazon.
See this guy with the pillows on Fox? MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell. Where is Mike? He is the greatest. First of all, he does make a great product, great pillows. I actually use them, believe it or not. He's been a supporter from day one. The MyPillow guy, thank you. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
As always, President Trump is right. The MyPillow is so good, even President Trump sleeps on one. Support Mike Lindell, President Trump, and the Steve Kane Show at the same time. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings on MyPillow products. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. I was joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, so another actor of old times is in the news, Richard Dreyfuss. I wanted to talk about this because Richard Dreyfuss, I always kind of viewed him as a liberal, and he got in trouble at this screening of Jaws. And the reason I thought he was a liberal is, well, he's a Hollywood actor, and he played Dick Cheney in that Oliver Stone movie in such a perverted way. He seemed to enjoy it. And he also played, I think he played Alexander Haig in a movie years ago, humiliating him. It was the day Reagan was shot, I think was the name of the movie. And he got in trouble for what they're saying are sexist, homophobic remarks at this screening of Jaws. Richard Dreyfuss is being accused of this is in Breitbart, of making sexist and homophobic comments while attending a screening of Jaws at a theater in Massachusetts on Saturday. Richard Dreyfuss was part of an event at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Mass., billed as an evening with Richard Dreyfuss plus Jaws screening, when he was asked to make a few remarks ahead of the showing, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Some attendees, though, were irked when Richard Dreyfuss reportedly began pontificating about inclusivity rules at the Academy Awards, offered criticisms of transgenderism, and took some shots at left-wing actress and singer Barbra Streisand. Some fans vented their frustration on social media after the film, with one carping, An evening of misogyny and homophobia with Richard Dreyfuss. Disappointing, doesn't even begin to cover it. So this was posted on Twitter. Let's see here. Part 2, and mind you, this was billed as a talk about his movie, specifically Jaws, which was played following his interview.
It's such a great movie. It's a classic.
Did
you ever read the book by Bentley?
No.
Benchley or whatever?
No.
I wonder if the book's good. The movie's amazing.
I cannot imagine reading that book. The movie's so good. Why would you read the book?
He said there's a new documentary about Jaws, and he said that Richard Shaw, is that not Shaw?
Richard Shaw's in Jaws, yeah.
I thought he played Shaw.
Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw plays the boat captain.
Plays Quinn. That he was a big drunk and that he tormented him. And
Dreyfuss?
even other people, even Spielberg said that he tormented Dreyfuss. And Richard Dreyfuss just kind of went with it, you know what I mean? And he like really gave him a hard time and was teasing him and tormenting him for some reason, just kind of focused on him and was really not very nice to him and all this stuff. So I don't know, but that's still such a great movie.
I've always liked Richard Dreyfuss. But you know, Hollywood, I'll go through some more of this article, but Hollywood, his days are long past.
Yes.
But his days of working are completely over now because of this thing.
Absolutely.
But back in the days when he was like a famous movie star, he crashed his car into a tree, stoned on cocaine, and that didn't mess up his career. But he offended some people at a Massachusetts movie theater. No more acting for you. Okay, but let me get back to this because they're very vague about what he said. One person in attendance said she was at the event. She walked out because of his racist, homophobic, misogynist rant. The theater rushed to apologize for the actor's rant, saying in a statement, "We are aware of and share serious concerns. The views expressed by Mr. Dreyfuss do not reflect the values of inclusivity and respect that we uphold as an organization. We deeply regret the distress that this has caused to many of our patrons."
Oh, my goodness.
The theater, you know, these wimpy liberal snowflakes today think they have a constitutional right not to be offended. Yeah. The theater claimed that they are in active dialogue with
And if they get offended, the person, their whole life should be just like canceled.
Listen to this. The theater also claimed they are in active dialogue with patrons about their experience and are committed to learning from the event how to better enact our mission of entertaining, educating, and inspiring our community.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and apparently what he was talking about that upset them, I don't know what he said about Streisand, but he was talking about these Oscar rules where movies have to have so many of the check marks, so many transgender, gay, minorities, and all this stuff to qualify. That's not what those kind of awards are about. They're about excellence in the field, not about that.
That started with Jada Pinkett Smith.
It is a very strange thing.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with Richard Dreyfuss in this, okay, the movies right now. There's an article today. George Lucas. Okay, listen to this. It's also in Breitbart. George Lucas demolishes woke critics calling his Star Wars films too white, too sexist. He says most of the people are aliens. Okay, so George Lucas is challenging these people. He's going to get canceled next.
This is what's happening with these younger people that are because everything's on streaming and you can watch old stuff. Brian and I watch a lot of old TV shows. They're not politically correct at all. I mean, if you watch any Jimmy Cagney movie, he talks about hitting women. He hits women. She needs a good smack. That was his character. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People take it out of context. I don't agree with blackface at all. I mean, but they did it back in Hollywood. It's the way it was. They thought it was fine back then. Of course, now it's a bad thing. Whatever. I don't agree with doing it, but back then they didn't think. Al Jolson made it a thing. Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney did it. Howard Stern's done it, but now it's considered racist. But I don't like when you look back on things with through the lens of today and try to impugn people for work they did 40, 50 years ago and call them names. It was a different time. It was a different culture. And you can look at Star Wars and say, you could look at pretty much anything like from 5 years ago past and be like, that's too white. Okay? You could do that. but they didn't have this whole thing going on now in Hollywood that they did back then. So blame liberal Hollywood.
Well,
I don't know, but I think it's just absurd.
This is what happens, okay? Things get weaponized. Like this thing with George Lucas. This is what happened with George Lucas. This is not in the story, but I know I put things together. Okay. So he gets questioned about the whiteness of Star Wars.
Oh my God.
And he attacks it. He says most of the people are aliens and all this stuff. Right now, Disney, which owns Lucasfilm, is like on the verge of bankruptcy. And the Star Wars properties have just been complete failures.
That's for sure.
And about 2 weeks ago, it came public that Disney is in talks with George Lucas about bringing him back to make a movie because they want to have a hit Star Wars movie. So they want to have like a George Lucas movie to try to bring back Star Wars. And the people at Disney that run Lucas now don't like George Lucas, okay? It's run by a woman named Kathleen Kennedy who used to work for him. She hates him. And so what happens? She sets him up. Yeah. She gets him in this situation where he defends the casting of his movie, which, by the way, Star Wars was in theaters in 1977, so it was made in 1976, so it's almost a 50-year-old movie. So he gets in this thing where he has to defend his movie from 50 years ago.
Well, he shouldn't defend it. He should say, I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. And it's absurd.
And so they're going to brand him racist to try to keep him from getting the movie away from the liberals that run Disney. But here's the thing. They're calling George Lucas a racist. This is in articles all over the place. And I know he's a liberal jerk, okay? I love Star Wars, but I don't like his liberalism. He's no racist. His wife is black.
I know.
Not only is his wife black, she's from Chicago and is very tight with Obama, and he's friends with Obama. So they got a guy with a black wife calling him a racist. I mean, now in this thing with Richard Dreyfuss, when Richard Dreyfuss crashed his car high on cocaine and openly had major substance abuse problems, no one cared. You could do all that stuff, but you criticize this diversity, inclusivity checkmark thing at the Oscars, you get completely canceled. But George Lucas has his billions. Richard Dreyfuss hasn't been cast in a movie that anybody's seen since those stupid police movies he made with Emilio Estevez. Remember those movies? What were those movies called? I can't remember what they were called. Remember he made 2 of them. Stakeout. Remember Rosie O'Donnell was in one of them.
Good.
Yeah, and they cancel these people. And, Hollywood is so stupid. No one goes to the movies anymore.
No.
Hollywood is on the verge of collapse. They don't even make movies and television shows in Hollywood anymore. They make them all over the world, not just in Georgia. They make them all over the world. And they're still, like, going down with the ship on this diversity, inclusivity thing as opposed to putting out good things that people want to see.
They're doubling down. I don't understand.
They stupid.
Well, they live in a bubble.
Yes.
And liberal elites love to feel that they are better than everybody and more intelligent, and to think like everybody else, they're above that. You know what I mean? They're above common sense. And I just think it's ridiculous to look back on things that were made and look at them through this woke lens and try it. And if I was George Lucas, I'd tell them to go F off. I mean, I would be like, look, I have a black wife. Give me a break. I got biracial children. This is absurd. But they still would call him a racist and say the movie's 50 years old. And, what about Mace Windu? What about Lando Calrissian? I mean, he did have main characters that were African-American in the movies.
Exactly.
It's so ridiculous. So because he didn't make Luke, Leia, and Han black, he's a bigot? It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Hollywood is changing, but it was different back then. Like I said, you can look at movies from the 30s and 40s. It's different. It's just a different time.
Exactly.
And I personally don't like the way it is right now. I think it's absurd that you have to hire people based on the color of their skin. That's ridiculous.
Or their sexual orientation.
I mean, they're letting in people in medical school based on race and gender, not qualifications.
And science.
What's that going to do to our country in 20 years?
Kill people.
I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, don't you want the best doctor? And by the way, go to Miami. There's no white doctors down there. I can tell you that right now. I mean, it's just absurd, this whole idea that we have to look back and judge everybody based on things that they did, in Hollywood. It's just stupid.
Now, a Republican from New York, Mike Lawler, he's not one of the more famous Republicans, right? But he's a Republican in the House from New York. And he has actually started a discussion that I think could quite possibly happen. He's talking about removing Tlaib from Congress. By the way, she's been carrying on during this Israeli war that's going on in Gaza. And there's no doubt in my mind that she's a spy. Does everyone agree that Tlaib's a spy? You know, when Trump took out the Iranian general that was organizing all the global terrorism, he didn't inform Congress. He didn't inform Congress because of her. I think. Yeah.
She would have told it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, not that there aren't some others that would give the information up too, but she is not just some radical leftist. She's a spy. And everybody knows this. And if they can remove Santos, they can remove her. She should be removed. She's not the only one. Ilhan Omar too. But Tlaib, without question, should be removed from Congress. You watch the way that she carries on. You know, she's an American congresswoman, not a Palestinian one. She's in the wrong legislative body. She needs to go be in the Palestinian parliament. If there
I wanted to talk about this thing today with the trial with Michael Cohen, and Trump's lawyer Blanche had a really good line. They did their final wrap up with the jury, the defense, and he said, "You've heard of the GOAT, which means greatest of all time." Mm-hmm. He said, "Michael Cohen's the gloat. Greatest liar of all time."
I love
which
that.
I thought was really good.
That is good.
And that was a really good moniker to give him and to stick with the jury. But I still believe they will find him guilty on some count. They're not going to let Trump walk away free. This is not going to happen. And Blanche said to the jury, and the judge blew up at this again. Blanche said to the jury, "Your decision can land this man in jail." And when he said that, the judge completely lost his mind and started screaming at him, apparently. They reported on the news and cut away and like took a break or something. But that's true. I mean, their decision can put an ex-president and a presidential candidate in prison. And he wanted to say that because he wanted them to understand the ramifications of what they're about to do. And it's like the judge didn't want the jury to be reminded of that fact, that what they're doing could put him in prison.
That's right.
He got very upset when Blanche reminded them of that, how serious it was what they were doing and deciding, because they might come across, say, okay, he's guilty of 2 or 3 counts. He wanted them to know this judge here can throw him in jail for your decision. Mm-hmm. So you need to be aware of that. And the judge apparently does not want the jury to know that.
No, he did not. He did not at all. And he told the lawyers they couldn't cite anything about the law in a courtroom.
Okay.
They can't say anything about the law in a courtroom. What kind of instruction is that?
Crazy.
For the closing arguments? That judge,
this is going to go to the
let me tell you,
court.
That judge may be on top of the world right now, which I don't think he is. I think he's terrified.
I think he's scared stiff.
But he very well could go to jail.
He wouldn't be having these outbursts, Brian, in the courtroom if he wasn't nervous.
What he's doing is so criminal. I mean, really criminal, not, figuratively. It's really criminal. I mean, they got Democrats sending money to his daughter's house. Come on. And he's afraid of going to jail.
There was a whole article in the New York Post about it. There's many articles in the New York Post about him and how his daughter has raised millions since the trial started, and people visiting her home and sending money. I mean, and how he should have recused himself because he already was investigated last year for his massive donations to Biden and other Democratic politicians, and that he should have, Judge Janine and other judges have said he should have recused himself from this trial. But he didn't recuse himself because it was all part of the plan. Do you know that he was the judge for like 2 or 3 other things against Trump, apparently?
Yeah. Yes.
So this is...
He gets all the cases.
He gets all the cases.
Yeah. What
this
a coincidence.
Is done by design.
Yeah.
Those cases are randomly chosen. And
supposedly.
I know this because my stepmother used to be a probation officer, and I used to go with her to the courts when I was in middle school. And she showed me, back then they did it on a whiteboard, and she explained how it worked. She said all the cases are random. They just get randomly assigned to the judge.
Fairness.
And exactly. And she explained that to me a long time ago and showed me exactly where they did it. They would write the name in on the whiteboard in the courthouse in Broward County. That's how it's done. How has this judge been presiding over like 3 things involving Trump?
Well, Kathy,
I mean, come on.
It's the same thing with Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok had all the cases, right? He had the Trump case, he had the Hillary case, he had all the cases. The numbers of these...
Everybody sees what's going on.
The numbers of these corrupt people in government are not as large as you think. That's why they got to give the same judge all the cases, because they only have like one judge, right, that can handle it. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also welcome our new Patreon supporters. And remember, those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure you go to the Patreon page, because there you have access to commercial-free editions of all our podcast episodes and a lot of other content that Kathy and I post up there that we post nowhere else. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, John, Paulette, Carlos, Mike P, Macho, Wesley, Nick, Rick, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, not that Brandon, and Rob and Trish Wilkerson. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thanks so much. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. We'll take a quick break and be back for our final segment. Don't go anywhere.
GlamourForTheGirls.com is the perfect shopping site for beauty products. The whole site is on sale. At GlamourForTheGirls.com, you'll find perfect gifts for birthdays, graduation presents, and so much more. Make sure to use the code GLAMOUR and save 10% off your whole purchase. Go right now to GlamourForTheGirls.com. Browse the inventory. You will be impressed. Make sure to share the site on all your social media so your friends can shop at GlamourForTheGirls.com too. GlamourForTheGirls.com. Start shopping right now. Have you ever dreamed of a career in television and in the movies? Author Kathleen Dages did and made it happen, and she shares her experience in her book, Almost Famous, available on Amazon. Kathleen has been passionate about creativity since she was a child. It started as a hobby and then turned into a remarkable career in the television and film industry. From behind the scenes to center stage, she's worn many hats, and now she's sharing her remarkable experiences in this must-read book. Almost Famous is filled with advice and is a testament to the power of chasing your dreams. It's a reminder that with determination and passion, anything is possible. Join author Kathleen Dages on her extraordinary journey and order your copy of Almost Famous. It will ignite the spark of possibility within you. Available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Almost Famous from author Kathleen Dages on Amazon. Order your copy today and unleash your potential. They say misery loves company, but in today's world, we're too busy hiding our miseries. From author Louise Simpson Phillips comes a book that gives us the freedom to look at our flaws through a magnifying glass. Tales from the Sewer, available on Amazon, and talesfromthesewer.com. Tales from the Sewer is authentic, raw, and is filled with unabridged stories that connect you with the most imperfect, yet most human version of yourself. You'll peer into the minds of protagonists and understand their unfortunate life decisions. Journey through experiences filled with revenge, cowardness, and more. You'll judge and empathize with these anonymous anti-heroes, awakening your own hidden miseries. Author Louise Simpson Phillips is an alternative therapist, and she provides the tools to accept who we truly are. With years of experience, she navigates the murky waters of issues we often ignore. Her own life is a testament that misadventures and mistakes can lead to success. Her stories, though disturbing, reflect the visceral reality of the human experience. Order your copy of Tales from the Sewer from author Louise Simpson Phillips on Amazon and from the author's website, talesfromthesewer.com. Available in Kindle and paperback. Embrace your flaws and find the humanity within. Tales from the Sewer on Amazon and talesfromthesewer.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So I just want to talk a little bit about this weekend I had. Over the weekend, if you watch me online and stuff, you hear me talk about this stuff. I went to Jacksonville, Florida, and I went to Georgia, and I caught up with some old friends of mine and went to that set of the Star Trek show, which you should watch. Look up on YouTube, Brian Craig Star Trek, and it'll come up. Okay, I went to the Star Trek sets for this fan film that is a 100% actual replica of the original sets of the original Star Trek of the 1960s, where fan films are made. It was really a cool. I wanted to go there for a long, long time, and I got invited to go this weekend and went. I went with some old friends of mine. Some of these people I've known for 40 years. Isn't that crazy? I mean, when you get older, you know people for a long time. And I have this. When I was younger, I used to go to Star Trek conventions. And I had this group of friends from the Star Trek conventions. And I haven't seen most of these people in 30 years. 30 years. And some longer, right? Some of them 20 years, some of them 35 years. I haven't seen them in all these years. And it's kind of like a high school reunion. You get together with people you haven't seen in a long time, and it's just like there's been no time passed. But back then, we were all young. I was the youngest of the group. But we were all young, right? I was like a teenager. The rest of the oldest ones were like 20, right? And our whole connection was through Star Trek and science fiction. No politics. We didn't talk politics. We were kids. We didn't know anything about politics, but it was all about Star Trek and science fiction. We all get together, and I'm in shock that everyone's MAGA. Every single one of them is MAGA. Every one of them. There wasn't one that was not. And which is, what are the odds of that? And we're not from the same area. We're all from Florida, but from different parts of Florida. Like I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. One of my friends was in Orlando, Miami, Tampa, and I thought at first I thought, this is amazing that everyone's MAGA. And then I started to realize, as the weekend went long, most people are MAGA. So it's not really that crazy. Most people are MAGA. The media give you an impression that there aren't as many MAGA people as there are, but it's much more common than you would imagine. And I just thought that was a pretty amazing thing. And you have the same thing, too, because you keep in touch with a lot of your old friends from high school and from college. Yeah. And they're all MAGA, too. For the most part.
Yeah, I'd say not all, but for the most part. The ones I talk to are.
Yeah, and
for sure.
it was kind of funny because not all Star Trek fans are MAGA. Okay, some of them are extremely liberal. And in fact, there's a Star Trek podcast. It's called what's the name of the podcast? It's the one that those two guys do that are writers for ABC television. It's called Star Trek: The Next Conversation. The takeoff of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And when they found out that I listened, they had this whole discussion on their podcast about how conservative MAGA people can't be Star Trek fans. And isn't that kind of bizarre? But all my Star Trek friends, they all grew up to be MAGA. And it blew my mind. And we were we were talking about how not all Star Trek fans, a lot of them are liberal. And there's this thing in Star Trek, it's called the Vulcans have this philosophy, Mr. Spock. It's called EDIC, IDIC. It means infinite diversity and infinite combinations, and it's this whole thing in Vulcan culture. And we're talking. This is so funny. If you go and watch this video, this is not on my video. We're on the bridge of the Enterprise, and we're talking about MAGA stuff as we're sitting on the bridge of the Enterprise. We're talking about conservative stuff and everything. And one of the people that were not in our group heard us talking and made us some comment to somebody in the group. I didn't hear it, but they told me about it. And I said, all these people, all these liberal Star Trek fans, they're all about infinite diversity and infinite combinations, unless you're a conservative, right? The diversity ends when it comes to political diversity. Yeah. And just like Richard Dreyfuss, just like George Lucas is dealing with, liberals are all about diversity until unless it's political diversity.
Well, the minute you disagree with them, they don't even want to hear it. Like, look at Bill Maher. He had that interview with Megyn Kelly. She destroyed him. And he's not used to that, but she's not a stupid woman. She's a lawyer, he's used to talking to Hollywood people, I remember in The Aviator, I'm referencing that movie again, where Howard Hughes, Leonardo DiCaprio, it's a great movie. I've seen it like 10 times, where DiCaprio says to Cate Blanchett, who's playing Katharine Hepburn, "You're a movie star." He says, "Don't talk down to me. You're a movie star, nothing more." That's a great scene. So Bill Maher's used to hanging out with actors. They're stupid.
Yes.
So he got interviewed with Megyn Kelly, and they were talking about things, and he said something, and she just flat out looked at him and said, "That is absolutely not true." She gave him examples. She had proof, evidence, everything, and he absolutely would not believe her because he doesn't want to believe it. Okay, this is a guy who's convinced himself that God doesn't exist because he's such a sleaze, and he can't live his sleazy life if there's a God. He can't handle the moral implications of what he's done, so he convinces himself there's no God, there's no heaven, there's no hell, and that we're all stupid people. 95% of the globe is just stupid for believing in a higher power.
Yeah.
He knows better. That's how liberals are. They know better, but they're really dumb. They have believed every lie they have been spoon-fed by the left media.
They believe their own lies.
And whoever's feeding them those lies. They have believed it all. And some people have been able to wake up and realize, you know what, I've been being lied to for years. But other people like De Niro are still drinking the Kool-Aid because they want to drink the Kool-Aid. They don't want to hear that Trump is a good guy. They flat out, they cannot sleep at night or live with themselves if they start to believe that Trump actually is a nice person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It like makes them physically sick to even, and for some reason, they will not accept the fact that he is being lied about and that this is a railroad and a witch hunt and everything. That it's like physically impossible for them.
Well, they convince themselves
they're stupid.
Like these idiot Capitol Police that were with De Niro today. You know, the guy with the tattoos, the blackout tattoo. And I was telling you this, Kathy, and you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree with this, okay? We all know what those guys are about. Yep. But their whole life, especially the tattoo guy, because he works for CNN and stuff, they tell this fake, false narrative about MAGA and January 6th so much. I think at this point they believe it. That they've been telling the lie
they believe
so
their own
much
lies.
that they believe their own crap.
They live in that bubble. They really do, and they don't want to get out of the bubble. And you could even present them with the truth, like Megyn Kelly did. Watch that interview. It's very good with Bill Maher. And you could see him getting very uncomfortable. I think she's taller than him, by the way. You can see him getting very, she could see him getting very uncomfortable with her. And she did not back down. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And he just absolutely will deny the truth, even if it's presented right to his face. He will deny the truth because he doesn't want to believe the truth.
Well, you know, the thing with Bill Maher, if you notice, he stopped doing interviews because he likes to be the bully in the host chair. And when he's not in control and he can't control the dialogue, it doesn't go so well for him. He has this stupid thing called Club Random. It's such a dumb name. That's when he gets high and interviews people.
It's the name of like a 15-year-old show. Mm-hmm. And he did it. He's now doing interviews. He interviews all kinds of people. So you got to give him that. He interviews people from all walks of life. And I've only seen clips, and they're interesting. But he smokes pot the whole time. And now he's doing the interviews with his book at his feet.
Oh my goodness!
His new book. Ugh, give me a break. I mean,
I wouldn't give him 10 cents for that book.
No,
he's a nasty person.
He's really desperate to sell this book.
He's a nasty person.
For him to
it's
go
almost
on,
like he needs the money.
Well, I'm thinking for him to go on Megyn Kelly, I don't know what he was thinking. And Greg Gutfeld, I think he was trying to ride this MAGA wave because he's been attacking the left, and I think he's trying to ride that wave a little bit to sell books. But he won't get invited to these parties anymore because maybe he's attacking liberals too much.
No, maybe.
And they're starting to get pissed.
Maybe. Well, listen.
On that note,
we're out of time, but we'll be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host